Hi, Gary Pride here. I have been investing in real estate for quite a long time, and today I wanted to do a video on how to find real estate on the cheap. And the reason I wanted to do this was yesterday I had a guy in the office, and he was complaining, rightfully so, that all the realtors got all the good deals. He never seemed to get all the smoking deals that are out there in the real estate market. And my comment to him was, well, they're available to you too. You just have to know how to get them. And so that's what this video is about. How you can find real estate deals on the cheap. For me, initially, the way I set out to find deals on the cheap, one of the things that I did was I set a goal to never spend more than 35 cents on the dollar. So if a property is worth $100,000, my top offer is going to be 35,000 bucks. So that seems kind of crazy, doesn't seem realistic, seems unreal. However, there are some cases where that's available if you're willing to do what no one else is willing to do, or you can see in a property what the condition it's in, and you can see your way through the steps to get it to where you collect that other 65 cents on the dollar. So that's kind of what I set out as a goal. And in the beginning, when I started this, I didn't think I could do it. I heard people talk about it. They said they did it. I looked at them. They were 18, 19 years old. I was 50. Yeah, come on, didn't believe it. So for the longest time, which held me up, made me slower, made me take longer to get to I didn't believe it. I thought it was fake. So I have several properties I've purchased for no money down, pennies on the dollar, that kind of stuff now under my belt. So I now believe what I didn't believe before. So I wanted to share with you because this gentleman asked me about it. Very nice man. And, I'd like to help you. I'd like to help you guys I'd like to help you in particular find deals, 35 cents, 25 cents on the dollar, the impossible deals, the ones that, oh yeah, that couldn't be true. That's what we're going to talk about today. So one of the first things that I'm going to show you or talk to you about is, why the cheap real estate's possible. It doesn't sound possible, right? It didn't to me. So basically what happens, there's situations where people need to get out of a piece of real estate. And a piece of real estate is not something that you can transfer quickly. It's not like you can't go to the stock market today and sell your stocks and get your money today. You just can't do it. Transfers of real estate take quite a while. Come here. This is my dog. He's in the background whining. Sit down. Sit down. Be good. Okay. So now I lost my train of thought. Isn't that something? So finding these distressed properties, real estate is one that it doesn't transfer quickly. So what happens is it gets people in a situation who have to transfer quickly. They need their equity immediately. They need to do something today. They can't wait. They don't have the money to fix their property up so they can sell for the highest price. Everybody knows that if you've got a car that's beat up, dented, dirty, nasty, you're not gonna be able to sell it as fast and for as much as one that's all polished up. Well, houses take a lot of money to get them fixed up and dressed up. It's not cheap sometimes. And if you have been, you've owned a home, maybe you inherited it, maybe you bought it, but your income hasn't risen, which a lot of us, it hasn't over the last so many years. I mean, the amount of income for employees is reduced if you look at the charts. So there's not been a reserve. You haven't been able to set aside money to make repairs. So that's a a property that's an issue. Let's say, for example, someone has a family, a relative dies with their real estate, and you don't want it. The person doesn't want the property. They're in another state, they've moved away, they didn't like the property that their parents had or their relative had. They want nothing to do with it. They just want to get rid of it. So that's another opportunity. So there's other things where there's liens, federal tax liens, mechanics liens, other kinds of problems that can be on these properties too, where a person needs to get out of it because they can't move forward in life because they're being pressured by maybe debt collectors or taxes or something of that nature. So there's lots of different things, and those can have some, things that you need to watch out for, because, for example, taxes take precedent over everything. They must be paid. You can't get around them. So if you buy a property for what you think is 35 cents on the dollar, but it's owed $1.25 on the dollar in taxes, and you close on it thinking you got it at 35, there's a problem there. So there's a con. You've got to be able to figure that stuff out. So let's talk about the most successful one that I've seen work for me anyway, is foreclosures. So there's a couple ways to find them. You can find them at public auction websites, courthouse records, or real estate agents that specialize in this kind of thing. And there's also some websites out there, I'll put those in the links down below, that you can go to and purchase a service and get a listing. You can also do Zillow, has a listing of pre-foreclosures, that kind of thing. So you can look on there and see where these foreclosures are. Why did I say that they were the best for me? Well, because the person's motivated. Usually they don't have the money to fix up the property. There's a lot of deferred maintenance. They're behind on their payments. It's just all kinds of problems. So you can be helpful to that person by moving them into a better situation for them. Most of the time, the ones that I've contacted were going to figure out some way to get out of it. They were in denial. Normal. I'm in denial myself on all kinds of things. So, that's a part of the program. So when you go meet these people or find them, the different ways that I just explained, you're going to run into some denial. And what I suggest is you just be as pleasant as you can be helpful, learn the whole foreclosure process so you understand it. We've got some changes coming on January 1 that are a little different, but understand the whole thing so that you know it. And I'm going to link a book down below here, below this video, for how to save your home from foreclosure. If you want to print it out or give them the link so they can save their home for foreclosure, that's kind of the first step. You want to help the person out of their problem if that's what they want. If they want to sell, you ask them, what is it you want? They want to keep it. They're in denial. You kind of know that, they're got in trouble and they're probably not going to be able to get out. Most people can't. Occasionally people do, but most of the time it's not. You want to give them a book, or there's pamphlets from the state or any of that kind of thing to help them get out, and sincerely help them. You will get a deal sooner or later if you just keep helping people. Sooner or later, someone's going to say, you know what? You were good to me. I want you to have my house. Because in real estate, honestly, at all levels, it's not who has the money, who has the cash, who has the whatever. Sometimes, but it's a very small percentage. The largest percentage of transfers is because the seller wanted the buyer to have it. And that's where you want to be. So I would check into foreclosures. One of the ways that I beat everybody, and this is a pro tip. This is a big time pro tip. One of the ways that I beat everybody else to the punch, because it's the first person to show up when there's a foreclosure that has the best chance of being the person that gets the property in the end, is I would review the county records online at home. You can access the county records in your county. You can look up the trust deed filings for that day. You can research where the property is, who the owner is. You can do a public search for their phone number. Often you can find their email. You can check them out on social media, find them that way, get in touch with them, drive by their house, say hello, introduce yourself, give them a copy of my book, or access to the link where it's free. You don't even have to pay for it. Give them access to that information so they can save themselves from foreclosure. And then, that's how you can start the relationship with it and find people who are in trouble, who are ultimately will sign the house over to you. You may have to do some things, you'll have a contract, and you may have to give them some money so they can move, for goodness sakes. They need to move on. You may need to take over their back payments, and you may need to bring their payments current. There's a bunch of things to it, but learn how that all works. It's a great place to buy them. The next place that you can buy, and this is a little bit longer play, takes longer to do the whole process, but as you can go to the court records in the Superior Court in the county you're in, and they're going to have filings for probates. Now, probates, just simply and quickly, that is where there's some real estate left, and the value of the assets of the deceased are in excess of $100,000, and so those have to go through probate unless there's some sort of revocable living trust, which then will transfer the property that way. There's some ways around it so you avoid probate. Probate's very expensive. If you look into it, you'll see estates where people died intestate without a will and without any kind of instructions, and so the court took this in, and the lawyers fought over it, and there's some famous ones out there. Look up what happened to Marilyn Monroe's estate, or some of the other folks that the famous people. It's kind of interesting to see how in the end their heirs ended up with nothing. The lawyers ended up with most of it. So but probates are a way that you can reach out to the administrator of the case and make an offer to the court, and you can get there you have to make a fair market value offer, but as long as the heirs are agreeable to it and it's reasonable to the judge, they'll accept your offer, and you can get a low priced house that way. Sometimes what's interesting with those is sometimes they come completely furnished. So let's say the price is the market price is $100,000, and they're offering it to you for $65,000, but it's completely furnished. Has 2 cars in the garage, has a golf cart, has all their personal belongings, has sets of china that are collectors' china sets and dishes. I mean, it's just unbelievable the things that will come, and often you're thinking you're getting it 65 cents on the dollar, and after you sell all those items, it's more like 50 cents on the dollar. So it's kind of interesting. There's companies out there that will sell that stuff for you, or you can take it on yourself. Kind of an interesting thing. Another way to do it is off-market properties. You can do that with things that are not listed on the MLS. You can do a direct mail campaign. But one of the most common ways of doing it is what they call driving for dollars. So you're driving down the road, you see a house where there's a big blue tarp on the roof because the roof's leaking. The yard hasn't been mowed, it's 4 foot high. It hasn't been painted, paint's peeling off. The driveway's cracked, the cars are broken down in the driveway. There's all these things that show that the owner isn't capable of maintaining the property. You can knock on the door and say, hey, what are you doing with this place? Do you want to sell it? And that's the kind of deal that sometimes, not always, but sometimes they'll sell to you, because they would rather have the money than the house. Sometimes not, it depends. But that's an opportunity. A lot of times they're vacant, so then you got to figure out who owns it. And there's a whole bunch of skip tracing and kinds of things you can do with that. Yeah, here's a list of some of the tools. Oh, wait, it's a couple more. Tax liens and tax deeds. If there's tax liens on a property, somebody here in California, they haven't paid their taxes for 5 years, and there's a tax lien sale coming up. You can go to the sale. Those are pretty public, pretty well published, and There's quite a lot of people that show up for those, so the competition is pretty stiff. You know, the pro tip on that is, can you get a hold of whoever owes that tax lien and pay the taxes and get it current before it goes to sale, and get it out of, and get them to transfer the property to you. Not easily done, but it can be. The other thing you can do is just network with motivated sellers. Another thing that just came to mind is like expired listings. You can see expired listings on Zillow or expired listings from MLS. Talk to your local realtor. Hey, when something expires, can you send me that? Call that person, say, hey, I noticed you didn't sell your house. And there's a couple different strategies of how you can buy those. There's a guy named Pace Morby on the internet, talks about taking that particular scenario. The person didn't sell the house. Normally, if the expired listing, it's because they wanted too much money for it. And this talk is about how to get a super deal. Well, in that case, Mr. Morby pays more than what the house is worth, and then he divides it up and rents each room individually. Like a 4-bedroom house, he blocks in the living room, blocks in the dining room, blocks in the garage, turns it into a 7-bedroom house, rents all the rooms, pays the mortgage. You know, there's a million strategies out there for how you can do this, but that's not necessarily a cheap way to do it. And to me, that's a kind of high risk and high hands-on type thing. You're going to have some pretty good property management skills, a good lawyer on hand, and maybe some reserve cash, you know, because there could be all kinds of issues. At least here in California, that could be a handful, because 7 tenants trying to remove one at a time. The legal fees, I would suspect a minimum of about $3,500 to evict a tenant. Not a fun thing. So not really a big deal. While I'm on that subject, if you did a foreclosure and there was somebody in the house, you know, you have to evict them, that can be an issue. And there's guys out there on the internet that specialize in keeping the house in foreclosure. You know, even though you bought it at the auction, they keep it in foreclosure and, you know, try and make money off of it that way. There's a whole strategy about that. Pretty interesting and wild and kind of submoral, you know, not very good set of ethics, but, you know, not illegal, but definitely submoral. So there's that kind of strategy. Some of the tools that you can use are the MLS, use a real estate agent, Zillow, Redfin, auction.com. The software that I mentioned earlier, PropStream, CoStar, REI, Blackbook. Public records, we talked about that. Get familiar with how to go to the recorder's office and then how to pull it up on your own screen at home so you can review the documents, what the names of the documents are. It's also a good idea to go to the Hall of Records and pull a deed of trust, pull a note, pull these papers. I'm saying pull, and what I mean is go get a copy of it and read it. And then once you start chasing foreclosures, there'll be notices on the doors. There'll be pictures on the doors, these notices. Take a picture of it, read the notice. You'll learn so much just by reading the legal paperwork. It's not that complicated. It's not super legalese type stuff that you'll see in these business corporate lawsuits where, you know, the legalese is just fascinating. You know, these guys will write up and, you know, try and justify their salaries. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Let's see here. There are some real estate investment clubs. Generally in every town, there's a real estate investment club. You can go in there and get further education, network with people, figure out what's going on in your community. You know, one of the things is some communities, this is not a good thing. You can't find a good deal because all the prices are way, you know, high and going higher. The prices are going down. So you got to be careful on the going down ones because you got to have that cushion. When they're going down, you got to make sure that, okay, look, if it's going to go down another 5, 10, 15, 20% in the next 24 months, I can't buy it at full price. I can't buy it at 80% of value. I got to get 65 cents or 70 cents. If you can't get that, or 65 or 50 cents, if you can't get it at that price, just pass. There'll be another one. Just take your time. They're out there. Let's see here. What do we want to? That's a little bit of a risk. The next category here I wanted to cover was risk and considerations. So And I kind of melded right into that. So it's important to do your due diligence. Find out what the value of that house is after it's all repaired. You're going to do some repairs on it or how it sits. Check out, what the inspections are like. Learn to inspect. Learn to figure out the repair costs. I think I'm going to do a sheet in the description down below that helps you do repair costs. I'll link to that. Learn how to read title. When you're buying these things, you're going to get a title insurance policy, and sometimes there's going to be what we call exceptions to the title insurance policy. Those are huge clues. Oh my goodness, there's a $100,000 tax lien that we're going to make as an exception to issuing preliminary title insurance. Well, guess what? That's got a priority over everything. You'll get the property, but you also owe the $100,000. So reading the preliminary title reports, or getting to understand what those exceptions are. If you don't know what they are, ask the title office. Explain it to me, please. Tell me what this is. And then the other thing is financial challenges. So a lot of times when you're doing this, trying to get some deals in the beginning and maybe even in the end, you'll start out with some hard money or private money. It's starting to be called private money more often now than hard money. It used to be hard money. So everybody complained because the interest rate was too high. But everybody now is paying 30% on their credit cards, 29.9, 28, whatever. And private money is running at 10, 12, 15% interest right now, half that. So private money is usually based on collateral and not on your credit. So if you have bad credit, that's not a big deal. But what's important is the collateral. So if you're buying something at 35 cents on the dollar, you're going to be able to, get some hard money on that deal, so that, or private money, and you're going to be able to get some repair money on that deal to help you purchase it and repair it. So it's out there. So you might want to check with your local private money lender, hard money broker, depends on how they list themselves now, and see what options they have available. And then what I would suggest is, you guys formulate an action plan. Pick one of these things: probate, foreclosure. I would say foreclosure above all the other ones. It's the most motivated person. There's action going to happen one way or another. Something's gonna give. Either it's gonna get paid and caught up and they're gonna get out of foreclosure, or they're gonna go through foreclosure and you're gonna have a chance to buy it before foreclosure, save their credit, give them a better chance getting their life together quicker than letting it go to foreclosure and having that on their record for 10 years. Not fun. So bad credit for 10 years is no good. Let's see, what's the next area? So take that, I would pick that. Then I would grab the right tools, for that particular thing. If it's getting online access, if it's figuring out how to skip trace people, if it's figuring out how to search title, how to look at records, get the right tools for all those kinds of things. If you want to, you can network with some experts, network with some real estate agents, some attorneys, maybe some other investors. Partner with somebody to start with so they can teach you. Do it for nothing. Get in there and add value to them and make it so that they can't get rid of you because you're so important to them. You help them so much that they're like, dude, I need you to stay around me. You're helping me make money. I don't know. I mean, to me, the investment there is you're investing in your education, and one of the ways to get ahead in life is always invest in your knowledge. Learn and seek more knowledge as much as you can every day, all the time. So don't take it as giving away your free time. Take it as, I'm going to learn this thing and this person knows it, and I'm going to watch them and be around, because if I'm around it, I can learn it. Or go learn it on your own, but it's way faster to watch somebody do it and see where they, cut corners, because they've done it before and they know where all the mistakes are. Take some action, make some offers. Don't be afraid. It's like, oh, you know what? It's worth $100. I don't want to tell them, $25,000. I get it. It's hard to do that initially. What you want to do is you want to help the person as much as you can. This isn't about trying to harm anybody, but it's about helping. So you want to help them, but you can only help so much. So the most you can help, that's what you would offer. So if it's a $100,000 piece of property and you can only afford to help by buying it at $45,000 because you know you're going to have to put $35,000 more in it to get it up to $80,000, it's worth $100,000 after you fixed it, you're really being quite generous, because when you do the closing, it's going to cost 10 to 15% in sales cost to real estate agents, title companies, all the stuff that happens. So in the end, you're going to get $5,000 for 6 months worth of work. You don't want to do that. So make sure you check. I'll put in that formula so you can put in the numbers and figure out whether it's a good deal or not. I'll put that in the links down below. Let's see here. What else? Okay, so here's something. The next thing on my list is, share a success story with you. So basically what I want to tell you is one deal, just one, will change the trajectory of your life. It will completely change things. Your first rental will change your life. Your first deal like this will change your life. Once you understand it and get through it, the first one, then you're going to come across one that's going to completely upset your entire life and change it into a different direction. I'll give you an example. I purchased an RV park and campground. Purchase price, closing price, it was in foreclosure, found on the foreclosure list, just like I explained to you. And before I did this, I didn't think it could be done, but I had done a couple houses. But then I was looking for bigger properties. I wanted to get, apartment complexes was actually what I was after. So I found this RV park and campground, negotiated it, basically only put about $75,000 down on it, bought it for about $275,000, and then fixed it up, put in another $150,000, and now this park produces a great cash flow for me every month. I don't have to work if I don't want to, but now I'm set to where I can, focus on what I want to do every day. Have fun, find more real estate deals, help people out. I don't have to, I don't have to worry about my, and just one deal. That one deal was big enough. If you shoot big, one deal's big enough. After you learn maybe one or two just to make sure you're comfortable with it, that are smaller, is what I did, but you don't have to do that. If you can find a mentor, you can do a big deal to start with. But one of those deals, now your life's changed. You're going to be doing things different. You're going to be able to help people out that when you feel like the need, you want to help somebody, or, it's not going to kill you to hand them, 10, 20, 30, $100, whatever, 500. It's not going to kill you anymore. So one deal can change your life. So I'd like to encourage you to take a look at it if you're interested in, finding real estate, on the cheap and kind of changing yourself. Why would we even want to find real estate on the cheap, 35 cents on the dollar? Well, the only way you can change yourself from being a W-2, an employed person, is you want to get your net worth higher. And the only way to get your net worth higher faster, you can't do it by saving your way into it. It's just not going to happen. It takes years and years and years and years and years. And at the end of the time, inflation's eat away all the money. And honestly, it's just, you can follow Dave Ramsey if you think that's going to help you. I don't prescribe to Dave Ramsey's style of what he offers. It's good in a lot of ways to people that it fits, but this program will blast you past Dave Ramsey's program quite a bit faster. I suspect that anybody who takes this kind of challenge on will, within 5 years of starting and practicing it part-time, keep your full-time job, pay your bills, do whatever. But I think by practicing it for 5 years straight, being diligent, learning, you will come across a deal that will completely change your life and be able to pay all the bills that you currently have without you going to work. 5 years. Not that big of a target. You could probably do it, you could set the goal to do it in 6 months or something like that, but you have to learn so much to get into that kind of a deal. It's probably not realistic. You need to take some time to learn all the details. So I don't know if you've tried any of these strategies. If anybody out there's tried these strategies, hey, let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you did. Tell me, how exciting you were when you got your first deal. If you haven't done one yet, tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me what your fears are. Tell me, what's stopping you from making the night. Go ahead and, tell me that stuff. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to share it with you. If you liked what I had to share today, if you liked, and you got something out of it, please subscribe, please share, please like it, whatever, these programs need. Gosh, I'm an old guy. I don't even know how they all work, but I do know this. You can do this, and I believe in you. So with that, I'll leave you and look in the links below for all the stuff that I want to share with you. Hopefully you'll be successful, and let me know how you do. All right, till next time, take care.